1 second later, the case that was never solved. The city exhaled steam and neon when a single gunshot split the midnight, turning a narrow service alley into a border between before and after. 1 second later, the darkness felt organized, like someone had arranged it for exactly this ending. Detective Aaron Hale stepped into the stuttering light, breath fogging, eyes cataloging shadows the way a surgeon reads scars. The woman at his feet stared past the brick to a sky too empty to answer. Her name, they would learn, was Clara Voss, grad student, freelance reporter, daughter who texted home soon and never arrived. Hope sat in her pockets like small, stolen sons. The scene was precise: no wallet, no recorder, no notebook, only the clean vacancy of things removed with care. Whoever did this knew what to take and what to leave behind. Gunpowder salted the air, a spent casing twinkled like a bad joke. Hale felt the city watching with 1,000 indifferent windows. He mapped it all: angles, footprints, smears, distances that argued with each other. The alley answered by erasing its chalkboard every time he blinked. A sleepless baker heard a shout, a cabbie heard a bang, a cat heard everything and told nothing. The night collected contradictions and called them witnesses. By dawn, Clara's photos stared from the precinct corkboard: licensed smile, campus light, a candid grin that still believed in tomorrows. The room grew quieter around them. Her last movements were painfully ordinary: library, diner, walk. The lines snapped at the mouth of the alley like thread bitten clean. Hale found the library trail: procurement scandals, contract audits, shell vendors with names that sounded like beaches. Curiosity had led her to maps drawn in disappearing ink. In her coat, a torn slip of paper: Rook, harbor, glass. 3 nouns that felt like coordinates. He circled them until the pen wandered through the paper. The diner owner remembered black coffee and a notebook crowded with names. She'd smiled without warmth, the way people do when their thoughts are louder than rooms. A homeless veteran swore he heard 2 voices, hers steady, a man's tightening into wire. Then a silence heavy as a safe door. Then the soft thunder of a pistol. Hale walked the route at the same hour, letting the city rehearse its alibi. His shoes learned where fear changes the rhythm of a stride. A security camera 2 blocks away recorded almost enough: a van's ghosted panel, a reflection that looked like a hand passing glass. Almost is the favorite word of the unsolved. The ME's report spoke arithmetic: close range, left-handed shooter, single decisive shot. The body language of someone who had practiced. Clara's apartment was tidy in the way of people who planned to come back. Her laptop wore factory snow. The external drive bay was a warm absence. Taped under the desk, brave and brown, a micro SD, 1 encrypted file named Riverglass_04. A small door inside a smaller room. The lab gnawed at the cipher. The file kept its teeth together. Secrets have good dentists. Ethan Rook, city councilman with camera-ready virtue, smiled from clippings beside harbor renderings and recycled promises. Lines from Clara's notes ran to his name like tributaries. Rook's scheduler possessed the innocent fluency of paid forgetting. Calendars were immaculate where memories smudged. A garage attendant remembered Rook's car near midnight and a second car with plates that looked shy. He remembered deciding not to remember more. The whiteboard bloomed strings: Rook Harbor Development, Riverglass Recycling Packs, elections. The arrows looked like veins. Clara's classmate, eyes red with surviving, said Clara had whispered, "I'm close." Close is the Cliff's favorite word. An unmarked envelope arrived with a photo: Clara shaking hands with Rook outside black glass, a hurried date on the back. The pixels felt too sincere to lie. Rook dismissed it as deepfake season and constituent weather. Hale watched his pupils flinch like someone who recognized the burning building. The librarian who fetched Clara's records slipped from a river walk and did not come up. Paperwork called it accident, the current called it convenient. Hale drove the river at 3 a.m., windows down, letting damp rumor seatbelt him in. Coin tosses don't land heads this often by chance. The captain suggested other cases, the mayor suggested gratitude, internal affairs suggested vacation. The room's silence had a sponsor. Clara's mother handed Hale a shoebox, stubs, badges, a key with no lock, a note, "If I don't send, check the glass." Grief made the air respectful. He traced money. Harbor's waste flows through river glass feeds a pack, the pack feeds campaigns that feed Harbor. Recycling, explained. A burner text blinked, Pier 9. Midnight. Alone. The city's favorite appointment. Fog stitched disclaimers along the waterfront. A shape emerged, gave Hale a folder and a fear that walked upright. Then it became only fog again. Inside, invoices that looped like handcuffs, usernames that rhymed with Rook's AIDS gamertag, photos of trucks flirting with vans at odd hours. Hale sought a warrant, a judge denied without reading, the clerk's eyes practiced abstinence. Paper hates getting wet. He leaked nothing, public oxygen can turn flames theatrical. He needed ground that would not shift under applause. Another envelope, a subway card with 5 rides and a breath of river. Riddles that smell are rarely harmless. Tap data put Rook's aide near Clara's library an hour before the shot. The aide said coincidence, a word with blood under its nails. Hale shadowed him to a storage unit that blinked open like an accomplice. Locks can tell loyalties by how they breathe. Inside, pallets of recycling that smelled like laundered paper and a recorder like Clara's, memory slot surgically empty. Evidence of evidence. Sirens arrived before he called them. Whoever ran this theater also ran the curtains. The DA spoke of chain of custody, the captain spoke of optics, Hale's mirror spoke of exhaustion. None spoke Clara's name correctly. Back at the alley, rain stitched him to the pavement where she fell. Ground keeps better minutes than meetings. A teen skater rolled up, "You're the cop who won't quit," and handed over grainy night, van idling, 2 silhouettes, one coat like Rook's driver, one height like his aide. The DA said silhouettes aren't evidence. Hale said neither is cowardice. The DA closed the file with professional tenderness. Rook launched a river cleanup, cameras drinking his sainthood as he tossed a wreath onto water that eats secrets for breakfast. Hale carried coffee to Clara's parents, they poured forgiveness he hadn't earned. Grief can do long division better than courts. At 2:11 a.m., the lab called, the file cracked. Audio. Time hiccuped. Clara's voice, calm, curious. Then sharpened, filled the room. A man replied through a filter, "You don't understand how big this is." The room learned new weather. Tires on gravel, a door, a small metal click. "Clara, is that?" Then siren noise overdubbed across the last seconds, smeared like a thumb across a signature. Someone edited mortality. Metadata tied the audio to the night she died and GPS by the river, not the alley. Either she was moved, or 2 scenes shared one clock. Truth forked. Hale printed the waveform like it could confess in Braille. The paper held its breath with him. He was reassigned with compliments, his desk emptied like a tide. The case file stayed heavy as if weight could mean progress. Rook's aide resigned for family reasons and surfaced at a consultancy born yesterday. Rook won re-election on safety for women. The irony refused applause. Hale's coffee tasted like duty, the river smelled like politics. A gull laughed in the voice of wind. A retired judge whispered, "Glass Street Warehouse. Ask for Schedule C." Old men sometimes carry working keys. Schedule C hid the city's unglamorous truths, surplus disposal, shredding, broken cameras replaced with faith. Faith is cheaper than lenses. At Glass Street, a guard watched cartoons in guilt while the doc inhaled vans and exhaled nothing. Silence is a logistics partner. Hale found a ledger pretending to be maintenance logs. Every third line mirrored PAC donations down to the penny's obedience. Paper blushed when caught. He left for a warrant, and an electrical fire remembered everything for ash. The building radiated innocence from fresh soot. The DA shrugged, the mayor smiled, the river rolled over. Institutions practiced yoga. Years climbed onto the case like dust. Hale still woke at 3:07, the minute the me had logged death. Time became a metronome with one note. New detectives asked what unsolved feels like. Like loving a voice you only heard once, he said. And they wrote it down like procedure. On the anniversary, lilies appeared in the alley, tied with municipal red tape. Hale cut it with the edge of his badge and kept the ribbon. Some souvenirs earn themselves. Retirement arrived without trumpets. He took copies the city didn't know he had in a habit of listening to Clara say, "I'm close," like proximity could be armor. Some nights he told the entire case to the river in order. Because witnesses matter even when they're water. The Current kept better notes than the DA. A final envelope arrived without return, a single line, "You were never supposed to hear her." No signature, just the smell of glass and rain. He answered out loud in his kitchen, "I did," and imagined 1,000 small, disobedient truths waking up across the city. The alley did not change. But his memory learned new angles. Sometimes he could almost see the hand that took the notebook, the foot that nudged the casing, the look that meant do it now. Almost is still faithful to unsolved. The case never closed, it settled into the city's bones like old weather. And if you pass that alley at midnight, you may hear a recorder click on and then the most careful silence you've ever met, the kind that tells you someone very powerful is still listening. And somewhere, somehow, the truth is listening back.